Greetings and salutations, lords. I am Ryxhark, and this is another 8-bit hindsight review. Today we're talking about Crusader Kings III. Crusader Kings III is a grand strategy game that was released in September of 2020 by Paradox Development Studios. In Crusader Kings III, you play as a dynasty as opposed to just a single character. As your character ages and dies, you will then take over for whoever your child being your faction heir is. If you have no faction heirs, then your dynastic legacy will die out and you'll have to start playing as a different character. The course of the game follows from about the 900s to the late 1400s AD, and there's lots of historical things to really recognize throughout this game. One of the big things is that the story the game doesn't have a concrete story. You start as one of these rulers during whatever time period you choose, and then you kind of build your dynasty the way you want to. While you may start out every time with the same players and whatnot, your choices throughout the game will determine how it unfolds. So this game actually looks great. The graphics are not like super realistic or anything, but it does have a decent graphics style to it. And I think it overall adds to the game. The game is beautiful and very clear what's happening. You can see differences within your characters and your lords and all your people. The only problem is that by the time you actually remember who each of them is by their looks, they usually die. So, but there is also a barbershop option which allows you to change the look of your characters however you choose. There's a very wide variety of how the different characters look from all different time periods throughout the game and different areas of the world. The music in this game is actually pretty awesome. I really enjoyed it. It adds to the game as you play, giving it that kind of atmosphere of the Middle Ages. There's not a whole lot of voice acting throughout the game. What little there is, didn't notice anything wrong with it. There are a few points where the sound design could have been a little better, and that's when events come up. There's only like 2 or 3 different sound cues for events, and a lot of them are like looped into the same sound cue. So you might end up going to war, and the sound cue for that is not super distinct, and you may not even realize that you went to war. A little bit more distinction between those sounds and maybe some more variety would have been nice. The gameplay in this game is pretty awesome. There is a lot to do, and it can be somewhat overwhelming with all the different things you can do and choices you have to make. But the bones of the game are there, and they're pretty straightforward. Telling your army where to go, understanding how to build your household, your relationships with other factions. Most of this stuff is very clear. The tutorial sets it up well, and aside from some little things that are slightly irritating, like having to have the proper casus bellis to declare war on certain people before you can take land from them, can be a little annoying, but I think that kind of restriction on you so you don't just run out and conquer the entire world was kind of the idea behind the developers making that. So I think it functions really well. There's a lot in this game to do, a lot, and it's hours and hours of content that you can play through and just have tons of fun with. You can replay this game over and over. Killed Link and I actually played a few grand campaigns together, and the online performance was great. We noticed almost no hiccups in it, and just overall it was a really great experience. I think the alliances and the AI for your allies could have been updated a little bit, maybe made a little better, just tweaked here and there, but overall the gameplay and the amount of content was amazing. So this game, it sets out to be a real-time grand strategy game, and it delivers hard. It is just hours of fun to play, and there's a lot of replayability. So for the $40, which is a little lower than normal, you're definitely getting what you pay for, and if you catch it on sale, that's just all the better for you. We highly recommend this game, and the final score is a very strong 8 out of 10. Like, a few things that could have been tweaked would have made this game a solid 9, and we wouldn't have looked back. But there are some very confusing gameplay aspects that you're not even really sure if you need or want to deal with. And I think some of those things are just more annoying than they are constructive, so they hold the game back. But overall, highly recommend this game. If you're an armchair commander, a Sunday strategist, or whatever else you are, go out and pick up this game. It's so much fun. Until next time, guys, this is 8-Bit Hindsight Review. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe, like this video, leave us a comment on games you want to hear us review in the future, or any experiences you had with the game. Go check out our podcast on Spotify, 8-Bit Hindsight Podcast, and we have an episode of Crusader Kings up if you want to hear more about it. Until next time, this is Ryxhark, rounds complete, signing off the net.